Smash Mouth Sports. I'm your host, as always, Preston Bailey. We just got done talking to Nick Wise, and, that went well. He had some technical difficulties going across the bridge. We've got 19 bridges here all over the place, so I know the feeling. I'm glad he wasn't going over the Skyway Bridge, which is an absolute debacle, and he was just telling us that he's from Detroit, which explains everything. It explains the lack of positivity, because there's something about the Detroit blood that you grew up in debaucherous situations in Detroit, and you just don't feel a lot of positivity. So I'm telling you right now, can the Green Bay Packers beat the Bucs? Of course. The Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. He's one of the greatest of all time, okay? Many people have him top 2, top 3 of all time versus Tom Brady. So here's my take on it. Do I think the Bucs have a better quarterback situation? Yes, Tom Brady's better than Aaron Rodgers. Do I think the Bucs have a better receiving situation? Yes, than the Green Bay Packers. Do I think the Buccaneers' defense is better than the Green Bay Packers? Yes, because Nick Wise asked me, he goes, is that just a hometown? No. Am I rooting for my team? I thought they'd beat Washington. They did. I thought they'd beat the Saints because I thought they were a better team. They did. Okay, and they won exactly what I thought they would. Devin White, Levante David, JPP, Shaq Barrett, they've got the best front seven in all of football. This team with Devin White is a totally different football team.
Oh, by far.
With Devin White, he is a tone setter. He recovers fumbles.
Game changer.
I mean, he's a game changer, led the team in tackles. I agree. Nick White said he's the best linebacker. I agree. You said Levante David earlier in the season. I think Devin White is the best linebacker in football. You could argue they got 1 and 2. Devin White can guard the pass, guard the run. He can guard every position, not to mention Vita Vea. Vita Vea is 6'4.5", 350 pounds. He doesn't have to worry about being quick twitch and fiber and all this kind of things. He's 350 pounds. All he's got to do is stand there for 15 to 20 plays and fall forward. Just 350, stand there, grab 2 guys, fall forward. Okay, and they got to grab you. The Dominican Sue's going to run buck wild. What's helped Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers has played great, but what many people are missing these last 2 years, what has helped the Green Bay Packers is balance. Okay, I've watched
Aaron Jones. Right.
Aaron Jones has been phenomenal. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, Jamal Williams, they have phenomenal running backs. Okay, they're tight end. Robert Tonyan is also a very good tight end. But the other question I was going to ask Nick Wise, is it a homer pick? Well, let me ask you this, Cam Vieira. Who is a better receiver, Devontae Adams or Michael Thomas?
Michael Thomas.
Okay, I would agree. When healthy, Michael Thomas is a better receiver. They're both great. A year ago, people thought Michael Thomas was the best receiver in football, right?
Correct.
Now, he's been a little nicked up. They shut out Michael Thomas. By they, the defensive backs. He had 0 catches on 4 targets. Let me say this again. 0 catches, 4 targets, 4 targets, 0 catches. Carlton Davis shut him down, okay? In addition to the great play from our defensive backs, it was also Devin White coming off the edge, Shaq Barrett, Drew Brees getting rid of the ball, checkdowns, and so forth. So I've got the numbers right here. I want to go over it. The Bucs win 30-20. I'm going to go over it quickly. Leonard Fournette, I cannot give enough praise to Leonard Fournette. I've been saying all season long he should be the starting running back for the Buccaneers. People are like, Ronald Jones is so exciting. Yes, Ronald Jones is exciting. Ronald Jones is a great athlete. Ronald Jones is talented, but he can't block as well as Leonard Fournette. He can't catch and do all the other things, third down blitzes, so on and so forth, that Leonard Fournette, goal line, short yardage. Yes, if Ronald Jones has a hole, he is faster and shiftier than Leonard Fournette. No doubt about it. Right. Like the 42-yard run that he had, which was a very questionable hold call. Had that held up, it would have been fantastic. So maybe we should title this, Make Detroit Great Again. But so Fournette, 17 carries, 63 yards. Jones, 13 carries for 62 yards. So 63 and 62. They ran the ball phenomenal. They ran 35 times. I'm talking about the Buccaneers. They ran 35 times to 33
times more than the last time you guys played the Saints.
Exactly. That's a great point. Cameron Brate played well. Listen, folks, make no mistake about it. That game was a New England Tom Brady traditional game plan.
It was.
Check down to the running backs. Go to the tight ends. Smart, cerebral, check downs, manage the game type throws.
Tough physical defense.
Tough physical defense. That was how you play in the playoffs. It's not all fancy risk it for the biscuit, Antonio Brown or Julio or Calvin Johnson, whoever your great receiver is. Michael Thomas is supposed to be considered the best receiver in football. It didn't have one catch, not a single catch. Drew Brees, who I love, I'm glad my team Buccaneers won, was horrific. Drew Brees,
He's got to go.
Is over. It's done for Drew Brees. In fact, we even made a bet on this a year ago. I was so confident in Drew Brees.
This was his last year, right?
This was his last year because I predicted he would get injured again because he's smaller and slender, and he did. He's been injured, I believe, definitely 2 years in a row, and I believe maybe 3 years in a row. Is that right, Cam?
Yeah, 3 years ago he was hurt. He didn't miss a game, but he played most of that season with a knee injury. Yes.
He played hurt. And then come playoff time, look, when you're 41, 42, 43, Brady plays – Brady's natural default. He's a big guy, 6'4", he's 225 pounds. He's not overly muscular, but he's tall, he's lean, he's muscular. He's got a build for football, and he gets rid of the ball. He doesn't run the ball. Look at Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is great. I keep hearing from Chiefs fans. I keep hearing from Nick Wright, who's going to get doused with mustard and ketchup tomorrow. I cannot wait because he hates the Buffalo Bills. Okay, Patrick Mahomes is great. Last year, Patrick Mahomes missed multiple games with a knee injury.
And now he's hurt again.
He's hurt again, okay? Now, here's what they're saying. This is breaking. It's just happened right before the show. He's passed concussion protocol because they claimed he didn't have a concussion. It was a nerve
in his neck, right?
They claimed it was like a pinched nerve and a sore neck and like a
That's what made him how did that make him lose his balance then?
Yeah, in a WWE DDT style move. Okay. And by the way, I'm sorry. I love all the moms in the league and the moms everywhere. I'm sick of Patrick Mahomes' mom. Look, dude, I get it. His whole family's just get off Twitter, dude. It's football.
They're the football version of the Ball family.
You're $500 million. Guys are going to come after you. You know, yes. They always say when you go for the king, you better not miss. Well, they got the king and they didn't miss. And I'm telling you right now, he's going to be banged up because Andy Reid is a riverboat gambler. Okay, Andy Reid is like the smartest riverboat gambler you've ever seen. Like, so he calculates the odds, programs into the gigawatts, but at the end of the day, Andy Reid is a gambler. I hated it last year when he risked it on 4th and 1 with Pat. If you have Patrick Mahomes,
and then he came out and said afterwards, I don't regret it.
Patrick Mahomes, if there's one thing Patrick Mahomes cannot do, he cannot run on 4th and 1. He's done it twice, and he's been injured 2 years in a row. And I'm telling you right now, the Buffalo Bills have a good chance of beating the Kansas City Chiefs when the Kansas City Chiefs are full strength. The Kansas City Chiefs are wounded. They are wounded animals right now.
They are not what they were last year.
Their star running back, and they're great, but their star running back, Clyde's hair, is banged up. He missed last game. That was a key loss. Le'Veon Bell is getting older by the day, and Patrick Mahomes has a jacked up net and is banged up. And I know
pushing his coaches.
And Tyreek Hill's pushing his coaches, which I did not like that at all, Cam. What are your thoughts on that?
Hey, I mean, it got no attention. I mean, no one's talked about it since. I haven't seen it mentioned on ESPN, FS1, nothing. But because they cut to commercial right when it happened. But, I mean, Tyreek Hill's a hothead. We know this. He's an all-world talent, but he's a hothead. And he lost his mind because that game was – make no mistake about it, that game was slipping away from Kansas City. Now, the Browns were the Browns, and they –
well, of course the game was slipping away because Patrick Mahomes got knocked out of the game. So, yeah, the game was slipping away. And I'm telling you right now, that was a game the Browns should have – this was a year of luck for the Browns.
Oh, 100%.
Everything that could have gone right for the Browns went right. And what I mean by that, dominant O-line, dominant running game, you can say, oh, well, we lost Odell Beckham. Who cares? Oh, they don't need Odell Beckham anyway. When I'm talking about luck, I'm talking about down the stretch when they needed to come to the finals. They played Pittsburgh last season when they already had it cinched up. They won that game. Their first game in the playoffs, they played Pittsburgh again. Pittsburgh was not dialed in. They were not focused. They steamrolled them. And then this last game, it was a tough back-and-forth game. Kansas City Chiefs were about ready to run away from this game. Patrick Mahomes gets injured. You win by 6 points. That's a game with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. You have to win that game. You have to.
No, I mean, the Browns, after Chad Henne threw the worst interception I've ever seen, that like 5-yard overthrow of Mecole Hardman, the Browns they managed the clock so poorly. And then it's 3rd and 15 against Chad Henne. And you let him scramble for 14 yards to make it 4th and 1. I mean, come on. Would a trip to the AFC Championship game right there in front of you, they make that stop. Cleveland wins the game. Because Baker's going down and scoring. Baker had a good game. They're going down and scoring. if they make that stop there. All you have to do is stop Chad Henne from getting 14 yards, and you can't do it. Come on.
Yeah, and I want to get to this. Get to the game. So, again, Kansas City wins. I don't know why I had 22-16 on my brain here. It's 22-17. Kansas City wins 22-17.
Now,
Now,
can I just make one more point on that Browns-Chiefs game?
Yeah, go ahead.
That goal line reach and the fumble out the end zone.
Yes.
That is the most selfish play in football.
I'm glad you brought that up.
It's the most selfish play in football. Dude, it's going to be 1st and goal at the 1. When you do that, that means you want the glory. You want to celebrate. This is my time. And you fumbled it out the end zone, and ultimately you cost your team the game. It's going to be 1st and goal at the 1. You have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. You're going to score. Just go down at the 1 and let them punch it in. But no, it had to be your moment.
Right.
That's what that was.
Yeah, that's a good point. Cam, am I coming through? I want to make sure you froze up there for a second. Are we coming through good?
Yeah, loud and clear. Yep.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up because I actually forgot about that. I'm really glad you reminded me because my mind was going off on 100 other things. I'm looking at the box scores right here. Kyle Hurt talked about this today and yesterday, and everybody has their opinion. He came up with a lot of wild scenarios. I'm not going to run through all the scenarios. I'm going to give you my scenario. I hate the fact that the Chiefs – first of all, I agree with everything you said about Higgins that made that play because it was a 32, 33-yard play. Great play by Baker Mayfield. You don't hear me say – Browns fans, you're going to get angry. Great play by Baker Mayfield. Okay, I know I'm going to get the angry tweets regardless. Great play by Baker Mayfield. He did a great job. They didn't lose that game because of Baker. They lost this game just because of just stupidness, just lazy, undisciplined. It was a poorly coached game. And Stefanski's done a great job. He's done a great job. He's going to get that ship going. That ship's already going the right way. But I'm just saying the difference between the Bill Belichick buttoned-up teams of the past and this team and that team, they're just not buttoned up. Reaching for that ball at the 1, if you go out of bounds at the 1 and you punch that ball in with Nick Chubb, you win that ball game.
You just mentioned Bill Belichick.
Let me say this again. If you punch that in with Nick Chubb, you got 4 plays. You punch that in with Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt has been a touch machine this year. You win that game 24-22. You win that game. Not only that, the game flow would have been a lot more advantageous in the second half if you're the Browns and you can go into more of a run mode, right?
Right. And you mentioned Bill Belichick there, and this was actually tweeted by Dante Stallworth, the former Patriot, in the middle of that game. Anybody who's ever played for Bill Belichick said when that play happened, don't reach for the goal line because that's one of his cardinal rules. Don't reach for the goal line. Don't extend the ball over the goal line because that can happen.
Yeah, look, I remember this is years ago growing up. The Rams in the late 90s, early 2000s were the greatest show on turf. And they started doing this because they were so prolific. One of the things that teams started to do to the Rams, because they were small, Holt and Isaac Bruce, they were small. They weren't big physical receivers. So teams like the Bucs and the Ravens, big physical teams, tough teams, would start punching the ball out. So they get 17, 18, 19, 20 yards, and they go for the ball because you can't tackle a guy that's that quick, like a Tyreek Hill. They just punch the ball out. So one of the trends that has started to happen in football in the last 15 years, that's been a while, but the big trend now is you get 15 to 17, 18 yards, you catch it, wherever you're at, you catch it, you get 2 or 3, and you fall down. Because 3 or 4 guys are going to come in, they're going to punch the ball. And that's part of coaching. That's what Belichick teaches. You get the ball, you get your 10-yard run, your 10-yard catch. Don't reach for that 1 extra. I get it. You're trying to get it, but it's all about you at that point. You got 4 more plays. Worst case scenario, you got 3 more plays to punch it in, quarterback sneak, running back inside draw, whatever it is, barrel through. I agree. I hate that. So let me give my take on that in addition to all that. I hate the fact that if you reach for it, it's such a critical play. You reach for it, and it goes in the end zone, and the other team gets the ball. I hate that with a passion.
Doesn't bother me in the slightest.
Well, I know, because that's your foolishness. It bothers me with a passion. Okay, Cam, what if I punched you in the face and stabbed you in the leg, and then I got $20? That's what it is. That's what that play is. It's I punch you in the face, and I get free money. That's what I don't like. I understand your argument because you've been ingrained the Bill Belichick way. 20 years, but my argument is this: I don't like it. Here's what I would do. Cowherd brought up a lot of scenarios. Here's what I would do. He said take it back to 30. What I would do, let's assume it's 3rd and 5. He catches a 20-yard pass. He goes down to the 1 and gets knocked out. Okay, so traditionally, if it stays in bounds, it's 2nd and goal at the 1, correct? And that's in my scenario.
Yeah. If it went out at the 1, yes,
okay.
It would have been 2nd and goal at the 1.
So here is my scenario. I think I'm going to say what's fair. What I believe is fair. It's a stupid rule. It's a stupid rule that was created 100 years ago, before the guys were as athletic as they are now. Okay, when Otto Graham and his guys with leather helmets back in the 50s, they weren't making plays like that when Otto Graham made that rule. Okay, so here's the play. Here's my point, and then you can argue or go from there. It would be 2nd and 1, but it would be 2nd and goal at the 20. To me, that's fair because you're punished in the sense of it. You shouldn't be rewarded. I agree. It shouldn't be rewarded for getting close to a touchdown because you missed it. You failed. So it goes to the 20. So you're Cleveland. You get the ball. It's 2nd and goal at the 20. What do you think about that?
That makes sense. So I mean, so you lose a down because it's not
you lose the down. We're not going to reward you for the down, and we're not going to give it to you at the 1 or the 2. We are going to punish you, but we're not going to reward the other team because you're an idiot.
Right.
It's like if I pick up the ball and if I'm a quarterback, it's 3rd and 10. It's like if I pick up the ball and I throw it out of bounds because I don't want to get sacked, and then you get a field goal. That's basically the equivalent. I throw it out of bounds and you get a field goal because at that point, and I'm not just talking about just this game. I see it over and over. I see it happen every week in the NFL, and I just don't like the rule. I don't like it. I think it's a horrible rule.
Well, maybe I'm just different indifferent to it because I've seen it happen so many times with the Patriots. The famous one.
I know why you feel this way. You feel strongly for the rule because you think it's benefited your team for the last 20 years. Because it has. Right, because it has. But what I'm telling you right now is the Patriots are plummeting, and you're going to have to adapt to my rule because it's not working. It's just not a good rule. I don't like it.
I mean, it's happened to the Patriots a lot. I mean, I can think of 3. I mean, we all know the famous play where Ben Watson chased down Champ Bailey in the playoffs. Then Malcolm Butler ripped the ball out of Austin Seferian-Jenkins' hands at the 1-yard line, and it went out the end zone. And then in this year, week 1 of this year, N'Keal Harry fumbled out the end zone against Miami, and Miami got the ball, the touchback.
Now here's my difference with that. I am not bothered, and maybe you just feel, well, I'm not bothered if the corner picks up the ball and runs it back 99 yards, okay, and Ben Watson or DK Metcalf knocks it out. See, that doesn't bother me.
Well, what happened
that is an effort play that I have no problem with you getting rewarded for. What I don't like is a little to no effort play, just a tough hit. You can say, oh, tough hit's a good play, but a tough hit at the line, or you fumble the ball because you got Butterfinger hands, and the other team, it's such a golden thing. If you go for it at the 1, okay, it's 1st and goal at the 1, you fumble it, you lose the touchdown, you also lose the field goal, and the other team, it's an
enormous swing. Yeah.
It is such an enormous swing. It is such a devastating blow, not to mention the psychology to the other team. It's devastating. I don't like it.
And what happened with the play you talked about? It was Patriots Denver in the playoffs. Brady threw a pick. Champ Bailey picked it off in his end zone, and he ran 99 yards down the sideline. And Ben Watson knocked him down at the 1, and then the ball went out the end zone.
Right, I'm fine with that play. Yeah. I'm fine with that play. I'm fine with the DK Metcalf play, okay? Because, again, and if you want to change the rule, that's fine because that's an effort play. Ben Watson is 260 pounds. DK Metcalf is 240. So you got 240-pound, 250-pound horses.
Not giving up.
Running, not giving up. I like that. I like reward in that case. But what I'm talking about is on offense – the same rule would apply there. If I'm Champ Bailey and I'm running 99 yards, the ball gets knocked out. Okay, you don't get the ball for free. You get it at the 20. To me, That's fair. To me, my rule is an intelligent rule, not because I created it, but because I did create it, but because I thought about it, and I think it's intelligent. I think it's a fair way to handle a chaotic situation. It's fair, right?
It is fair.
All right. We're on to Cincinnati, or in this case, we're on to Buffalo. So the Buffalo Bills win 17-3. We got 2 more games to go. We're not going to go too long here. Well, we already talked about the Green Bay game. Green Bay dominated their game 32-18. So the last game we're really going to cover is 17-3. The Buffalo Bills win 17-3. They destroyed Baltimore. You could say, well, it's 14 points. You beat them by 14 points. You destroyed Baltimore. You beat them by 14 points. Baltimore, at no point was Baltimore a factor in the game.
Nope.
The only part of that game that you could say that they were one play away from being one play away was when Lamar Jackson is driving. It's 10-3, and he stone cold stares down his receivers.
I've never seen a quarterback stare his receiver down more than that. That was unbelievable.
Mike Vrabel, Louis Riddick, many analysts, Mike Schlereth, many analysts said it's the worst stare down you've ever seen. I agree. I mean, look, Lamar Jackson is a dynamic player. He's a great player. I know a lot of people this week on Twitter have been calling him a running back. I'm not going to call him a running back.
But you said this preseason. He's in his own category.
But he's in his own category. He's not a traditional quarterback. He's not a Tom Brady. He's not a Drew Brees. He's not even a Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, they're athletic. That's part of their game. But they can throw. I'm sorry, Lamar Jackson cannot throw. He's very, what's the word, rudimentary, elementary, whatever word you want to use. He's just not an advanced passer.
The book is written on him now.
Well, no, I'm not going to go. You've gone too far. Look, he's 23. What is he? He's 23 years old. Okay, no, he won a play. I was not convinced that he was going to lose the first game just because it's the playoffs. Has he played well in the playoffs? No. This is what can happen. First of all, I want to add this. They cut Mark Ingram today, which is stunning, and they deactivated Mark Ingram, which was stunning.
Wouldn't hit an incentive, right?
Was that the reason why they did it?
He wouldn't hit an incentive, yes.
Wow, I did not hear that. I mean, I know they saved $5 million. Do you know what the incentive was?
I think it was percentage of snaps played or something like that. But it was wow. It was
stunning. As great as Mark Ingram has been, a veteran player. No, he's 31, which is older for a running back. They lost the game. They should have played him. They probably would have been better off playing him. I'm just saying, my point to get back to Lamar Jackson is this. You with me, Cam?
Yes.
My point is this with Lamar Jackson. If Lamar Jackson is going to get you 80 to 100 yards rushing a game, that's huge. Okay, and they've got a power running game and they've got a great defense. The problem with Lamar Jackson's style, if you don't have the best running offense in the league, if you don't have two great tight ends like they had a year ago, and you don't have a top 2 or 3 defense, there's nothing he can do because it's time and time again. If he is down 10 points, he can't come back. I think he had one game. I think Tennessee was up the first game, 10 points. But, 1 or 2 games it can happen.
I believe that was the first double-digit comeback of his career.
I believe that was the first. But, again, it can happen 1 or 2 times. Traditionally, it just can't happen. He is not a guy. When you know that he's passing, he's just not advanced in his passing.
He can't sit there and pick a defense apart. He can't
read the defense.
Right.
He can't do any of that. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Lamar Jackson.
I mean, they've had to create a whole different scheme just to accommodate him.
They created a whole new scheme. With
That's why they hired Greg Roman.
Right. And let me say this. They've got great running backs with Gus Edwards, with J.K. Robbins, and Mark Ingram before they deactivated him. And a year ago, this was what I said was going to happen. This is why Cowherd said, they're going to go 16-0. No, they're most definitely not going to go 16-0. And I do believe Baltimore has the best defense in the league. I do believe that.
I agree.
Because they contain Buffalo. And their defense, in case anybody's wondering, I know people in the comments are going to be like, the Rams said that. I know where the Rams ranked. The Rams were ranked number 1. I'm telling you. Say that again?
The Rams' defense is great, but it's 2 players. It's Donald and Ramsey.
Right. It's 2 players, and what did the Rams do when it mattered in the playoffs? They got steamrolled. Aaron Rodgers beat the brakes off of them. So my point is Baltimore's just a great overall team. But to get back to Lamar Jackson, they're going to – who is it? They lost who did they lose in the offseason? Hayden Hurst?
Yeah, they traded him to Atlanta.
Okay,
yeah.
So you had Hayden Hurst, who they lost, who's a great tight end. They also had Mark Andrews. What we saw a year ago, what he needs is 3 great running backs. He needs 2 elite tight ends and 1 very good receiver in Mo Brown. That's what he needs, Hollywood Brown, to succeed. He can't operate with just 1 or 2 backs or just 1 great tight end. Any other team would love to have Mark Andrews. That's the problem with the skill set of Lamar Jackson. He's just not advanced. That's not a dig. That's just that's a scouting. Look,
if many you make him throw the ball, he's limited.
If you make him throw the ball 40 times, he's limited. Now, if he can come off screens, if he can come off checkdowns, if he had an Alvin Kamara, if he had a Christian McCaffrey, yes, he'd be great. One of those kind of dynamic guys. If he had Christian McCaffrey, that would be great. If he had Christian McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara and Lamar Jackson in the backfield, you could create a new millennium phenomenal futuristic offense. That would be great. You wouldn't need phenomenal receivers. But I'm just saying with Lamar Jackson, you've got to have a coach that's very, very like I'll tell you. You want to know something right now? A guy that I would take.
Let's hear it.
Here we go. Sean McVay needs to get on the phone. I would trade Jared Goff for Lamar Jackson.
I agree.
Because I think even though Jared Goff is a better pure passer in a traditional sense, I think Jared Goff is very, very limited in his skill set. I think Lamar Jackson is limited in his skill set, but I would rather have a guy personally from my team. Lamar Jackson has upside. There's not a lot of upside with Jared Goff, unfortunately. Unfortunately, Jared Goff has regressed. He is what he is. He's middle of the road. Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, they're kind of in the same boat.
The other day, though.
What's that?
Goff was decent the other day. He wasn't the problem with the Rams the other day.
No, he wasn't the problem. But I'm saying, but he's not the solution. The point is, 2 years ago, when they lost to the Patriots, they had a $200 million team. They had a $200 million defense. Aaron Donald, too. They had check marks for days. I'm just simply saying now you're not going to have a $200 million defense. You're not going to be they have a great defense. They have the number 1 ranked defense.
They haven't used a first-round pick since they drafted him.
But the point is this team is going to continue to downtrend. Okay, they got so much collateral in Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald got injured late. They got so much collateral on Jalen Ramsey. They don't have the picks. Their offensive line is going to suffer. Their tight ends are going to suffer. The receivers are getting banged up with Kupp and this and that or the other. That's what I'm saying.
No, absolutely.
So last thing I'll say, we got to move on to yes, to answer the question, I do think the Bucs are going to win. I do think they got a good shot. If Green Bay wins, the Green Bay wins, but I'm taking the Bucs. It's funny how he said he's not worried about the snow, and then he said, well, behind in Green Bay. Well, there's no fans. So what's the allure? What's the allure of Green Bay if there's no fans and you're not worried about the snow? There is no allure. There's nothing special about Green Bay other than the fantasies and the stories that everybody likes to tell. Okay, yes. The reason why Brett Favre and Bart Starr and all these legends, because it wasn't because of the snow. It was because of part of it was the cold, and that was a little bit of it, but they had great teams.
It's also great teams. Like you said, the lack of fans, because when that place is full, it can be a bit of an intimidating crowd. They get loud and everything and stuff like that. But no, I like the Bucs. I'm going with both road teams this week. I'm going Bucs Bills. So here's my thing. This Bucs team is starting to remind me of the Patriots' last Super Bowl team, meaning all year long, they're like, something's not quite right. They don't look quite right. And at the end of the year, they found something. And your defense is playing phenomenal. You've committed to the running game. You're playing Brady's offense when you're throwing the ball. There's not a lot of risk it for the biscuit. You only really risked it for the biscuit twice the other day. And frankly, one of them should have been a touchdown if Godwin held on to the ball.
I'm not going to kill Godwin. He did drop another touchdown pass. Second weekend.
And the other one hit Gronkowski and it glanced his fingers.
Right. And that's the difference I want to say. People are talking about Big Ben, and people are really rounding up all the old quarterbacks, Breeze and Rivers and Big Ben, and this guy and that guy and that guy. And I would agree. All the old guys, all of them, they're all eroding except Tom Brady.
Oh, he's throwing the ball on a rope.
Tom Brady is the oldest. In fact, Cowherd said this today. He said that Tom Brady's got too much juice. He might have to ease up on it a little bit for these receivers. Now, here's why he's saying that. Mike Evans, he's been a little banged up with his hamstring, so he hasn't been 100%. Godwin does have a broken finger, and so that is a factor. Antonio Brown was a little nicked up, but at the end of the day, they're going to bounce back. How many times has Brady had going down the stretch in the playoffs? Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Scotty Miller is a fourth, and Gronkowski. That's phenomenal. And Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones as two big power backs. I'm just simply saying.
That's better than his 2007 offense.
The beauty about this team, and here's what I wanted to say, when guys are like, oh, you really think the Bucs can win? Yes, I do think the Bucs can beat the Packers. We beat them 38-10. And the difference is Green Bay is better, but we're better. The Buccaneers are better now than we beat them 38-10. And we're adding Vita Vea this week, which we did not have the first game. In fact, that was the first game we played without Vita Vea.
Correct.
And I'm agreeing with you. I'm taking the Bills as well. It's going to be a tough game.
Patrick Mahomes. How appropriate is that? The Bills finally get back to the Super Bowl, and here's the guy that stuffed them in a locker for 20 years, waiting for them, and Tom Brady.
Here's how I agree. I do think it's going to be the Bills. I do think it's going to be the Patriots. Look, both teams can win. I'm not having no problems with either team. And I do think the Bucs are going to win. I think they're going to beat the Bills, and I think the Bills are going to lose again in the Super Bowl because that's what the Bills do best. Nobody's better at losing in the Super Bowl than the Bills.
The Buffalo Bills.
And nobody's better at winning than Tom Brady, period.
He's the greatest winner in modern North American sports.
And I got to say this. We're going to wrap this show up in a couple minutes, but I got to say this. It's amazing how portable the Tom Brady system is when it comes with Tom Brady. It's amazing how You add Tom Brady, and the system is great. And I'm glad for his sake he left New England. I'm also glad he didn't go to San Francisco because he would have been injured there with that dilapidated team. And one thing I do want to address with Dan Campbell, I do think Dan Campbell is a horrible coach. I do think he's going to do a horrible job with Detroit. And I feel bad for the people of Detroit. Detroit is not going to be made great again. Detroit is going to suffer. They're going to go down the tubes. Like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks again. Have a great night.